IVM.
कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. And I have to say this, I've discovered something. Some of us in this world take a little while after catching your attention to say what they have to say. You know, if you're an impatient person like me, that's a very difficult thing to handle. So the person comes up to you and says, it happens too often. So I'm thinking we should have a cutoff. I think 3 seconds for a thought that you initiate but don't complete is enough. So I count to 3 now in my mind. Someone goes, listen, I say thank you. I'm out. There has to be a limit. Time is very important. Time in most cases is money. During the pandemic, not so much. Time is just time and endless time. But I just think we have to put a limit to everything. And so I'm giving you 3 seconds. All those in favor, raise your hands and send us comments whenever you feel like. Maybe in the next episode, because I'll be disregarding your comments in this one.
If you're a cricket fan, check out Edges and Sledges, India's favorite cricket podcast.
The podcast focuses on Indian cricket, the IPL, and has a ton of banter both on and off the field.
We talk about the week's biggest cricket stories with current and ex-international cricketers, coaches, or sometimes just between us.
And it's hosted by me, DJ.
Me, Varun.
And me, Ashwin.
New episodes release every week.
You can catch us on the IVM Podcast's website, app,
or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Check out the Edges and Sledges Cricket Podcast.
Right now, we've got a special cock and bull. It is still cock and bull because Hillary, who hates sports, will join us. But Nishad from Niche Sports, please follow him, who's very much a sporty figure. Let me tell you that in his young career of just 3 or 4 years, he's worked with the IPL, he's worked with different teams, he's worked with the management, he's worked with the coaching side, and he's worked on ESPN Sports, he's worked on all kinds of other sports companies, and all this for very meager pay. This is real love for the sport. This takes us back to the 50s. Let's get him in. Nishad, where are you, Baba? Please enter the show. And like magic.
There I am. You had to mention the meager pay, no? So at least some scope for it to go up now.
Because I'm such a disgusting man. I can't be nice for long. That's why I really shouldn't be in PR. Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, but I'm not off the mark. But meager, I don't know. There I'm wrong. I'm just pulling your leg. But in such a short career, you've really done a lot of stuff left, right, and center. In fact, you're like an all-round person outside playing. If you look, because you have been in the broadcast section of it all, where you've been everything from like anchoring, I mean, you do have your own site, as well as, almost coaching, I would say, in a sense, because you're literally with the players. If we have time, we can get to all that as well. And what's most interesting is you've just told me, I didn't know this, that you teach at a sports management college.
Yeah, I do.
And you spend the whole day doing that, and then we force you to come here and do this stupid program. So I apologize. So just a quick thing about the sports management thing, because we didn't mention this when we spoke to you initially. The show called Nishad the Great, that show didn't feature this. But was it on at that time, the sports management thingy?
When was that show? Was it earlier this year or previous year? Because I started teaching
last year.
In 2021. I had done... So I started.
We don't repeat guests every year. We are not that bad. We give you a 1 year gap, minimum 1 year. Then you get your test recall back into the squad. But just so sorry. So just tell us quickly, because you just mentioned offline is Nilesh Kulkarni, left arm spinner from Mumbai, and also for a couple of tests for India. So just quickly, what's that about?
So there is an institute here called the International Institute of Sports Management. It's in Bombay, in Andheri, and so they've got different courses for sports management. And one of the people they've engaged is me. I do. So I taught media and marketing last semester to, I think, the bachelor's degree, and this time for my master's degree, I sort of combined what I'm teaching them sports law. And I finally completed the course today and syllabus.
So this is where you make more. This is where you get paid a lot, right? This is the one which really rakes in the big bucks.
Yeah, expertise, absolutely. I mean, how many people can you get? Who've sort of done.
Hey, Baba, it's sports management. I want to get into sports management to make money for both the sportsman and myself, or the company, team, NBA, whatever it is, IPL. So yeah, that's the bottom line. Is a very capitalist point here. Please join this.
But I went to my college last week. I went to my law college last week after like 8 years, and I told a professor that I'm teaching sports law.
Oh, okay.
Now I finished my degree.
Huh, huh, huh.
And as I like to say, I attended university there. I didn't study there.
That's fine. That's fine. So the marks are what count. Nobody wants to know what you did in the classroom or who you were sitting with. Okay, let's get into it. We were so much to talk about. This is a sports special, cricket special episode. We'll try and fit in a little footy if we can. No other sport matters. Amit, if you're listening, to basketball. Um, we can go back in the year, Nishad. I'll let you freewheel whatever you want to. But I thought we'll just start right at the top because South Africa, I mean, as we speak, we're looking at Sunday. This is Thursday evening. We've got I would call it a depleted squad, but we lost a couple of big guns. And the opening pair, for me, since you have no practice match, you have no idea what net practice they're doing. I know they're playing football of some kind, but can you choose your openers over football? How does that work? Because you've got
Well,
Mayank Agarwal in cracking form. Okay, let's face it.
hmm.
KL walks back into the team. What do you do there? Rohit Sharma goes out. Who then takes the next spot, the third spot? Rather, are you sticking with KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal? Are you going to experiment because then Rahane doesn't get in? What do we do?
Go with KL and Mayank because Mayank has got the runs in Mumbai, and you have to keep him in the side. And then of course you've got KL who got those runs in England.
England.
So you've got to get him in. And plus he's vice captain now, so
Yeah.
that is there is an implication you can't drop him. And
Yeah.
remember, these guys actually have been the best of friends since the age groups,
Oh,
and
yeah. They're
they opened
Bangalore
the batting in
buddies.
the under 19 World Cup. Yeah, so it's
Right, right.
they've done it
They're
before.
actually chuddy buddies. Let's be
Yeah.
frank here. We don't know what kind of relationship they had, but it was extremely close. So
Yeah,
that's true.
really. They opened for India under 19 as well, Karnataka as well, and
But you buy that the buddiness in opener partnerships like you say, Desi Haynes and Greenwich both came from Barbados, although Greenwich grew up a lot in England as well. But they say that the buddiness of being the openers always works as against other members of the team who may not be friendly. Langer and Hayden got along really well. Hayden and Slater got along really well. Gavaskar and Chawan, Gavaskar and Shrikant. I mean, not the greatest partnerships, but pretty up there. What do you think?
yeah, I mean, I would say the buddiness works, especially if you see someone like a Langer and a Hayden. And when I spoke to Hayden, he spoke about the kind of relationship they had, with each other. Very different players, because Langer was someone who attacked the new ball, and Hayden was someone, who then blunted the attack. But and again, someone Langer was someone who had played a lot squarer, and Hayden went straighter. But he said that a lot of their values as human beings, they were on par. And one was from Western Australia, the other one was from Queensland, two opposite ends of the country, but they got along really well off the field. And that really, he said, our value systems were so similar
And
that it really played a part.
you could arguably say they're also the most intense. They're
Oh,
extremely intense cricketers. Intense. Langer even off the field is very intense. People are intimidated by him. He's not a very big guy, but he intimidates a lot of people. But no, my point here, my worry is not a worry, but it's a little mischievous. If our Kannadiga boys click, what happens then? Because when the big fish comes back, I mean, he walks in. He's Rohit Sharma, arguably the
hmm.
most talented player in the world in sheer talent. What do you do with this batting lineup? And I dare I say, if Kohli also gets runs, I'm not saying that you could have dropped Kohli yet. It's just that I think there's still petrol left in that tank. But I'm having trouble trying to put this six together. Bear in mind that we play five bowlers now, so keeping that as the new premise. Okay, whether we're playing in India or abroad, is five bowlers. So I was just a little worried about that. I'm trying to figure out, does that spell? And this is so sad to say, but the two oldies are going to really struggle. You have a fit Shubman Gill, you have Virat Kohli. You tell me, you do the maths. You tell us. What do you think?
Oh, it's really tricky. And remember, there's Prithvi Shaw also who's waiting.
Not getting
He
it.
might come in. Yeah, he might come in. Priyank Panchal, who's now 31, he's made it into the side, got a ton of
And
runs.
he made a 96 in the A
Yeah.
tour, which is you made the runs on that soil with that kind of attack, etc. Used to the bounce. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so you've got a lot of options. I think again it will be who gets more runs in this series, because the moment Rohit walks in, I think he becomes vice captain. Virat's around, can't.
Also, the simple massive Rohit comes in and both the Kannadiga boys have done well. Then what happens is that 1, 2, and 3 is between them. However you want to play it, 1, 2, and 3 goes there, which means Pujara goes out. Now does he go to 5? I don't know, because then you're
Yeah,
you're wondering about the new talent that we have that we want to push in as well. Names that we haven't mentioned yet, not including
Shreyas
the 4
Iyer.
5 you have. Shreyas Iyer, or how do you drop him? 100 plus already. So yeah, abundance of riches, as we say.
And through all that, someone who's got possibly a raw deal is Hanuma Vihari. I mean, he took it.
Can you believe it?
Yeah.
I want to go back. I hope we don't run out of time. I want to go back to all that. And I'm just thinking, what the hell? You and I discussed this threadbare, and we were in love with that guy because that partnership between him and Ashwin, I thought that really, if you look back at moments that really make a series classic, sometimes the moments aren't the greatest moments when you're looking at them, and then you realize later that they held them out at Sydney. It could have been 3-love that series. Okay, if we did hold
Absolutely.
them out at Sydney, and then just look how it turned slowly, just a little bit of tenacity, courage, great. They took so many blows, etc. And he's an unsung hero. You're absolutely right. And that to abroad, you're thinking he must be thinking abroad. I should have number 6, but whatever.
Yeah.
Then of course the all-rounder issue. Sorry,
Yeah, exactly. And he's done what the team has needed. Like in Australia in 2018, he was asked to open the batting, and he did that. He didn't get the big score, but he spent time in the middle, blunted the new ball. So
correct.
yeah, he would at
He's got
least
a
I
raw
hope.
deal. We can
Yeah,
we can't deny that. It's definitely a raw deal. But I'm saying Pant comes back at 6. You can't touch 6. If Shreyas is at
yeah,
5, okay. If Virat is at 4, if I put Rohit at 3 and don't touch the two boys from Bangalore, I'm just looking. And this is a very possible scenario. This is not something we're making up. At no space for both of them. The two
yeah.
big oldies. I'm calling them oldies. There's only 33 and 34. No space for them. There's just no space because, as you mentioned, there's Prithvi Shaw waiting. There's Priyank Panchalu. Now, what the hell is he in the squad for if he doesn't get a call up before that? And there are a couple of names waiting in the ranks back home who are wondering why they aren't on the plane. I mean, I don't know. So what's your call? What are you going to do if you're the selector? Tell me honestly.
Okay, you're talking about the first test or in general later?
I'm no, I'm talking about just looking forward in the next 6 months. Indian cricket. I think we play Sri Lanka. We play the West Indies. To have a more settled lineup. You want a settled lineup. If you're playing Pant at 6 and then 5 bowlers, one of them being an all rounder, whether Jadeja plays again or not, I don't know. But we'll still play Ashwin at 7 then, as where I see it, or a Shardul Thakur or something like that as a, if you want to call it, makeshift all rounder. India's future, India's batting lineup doesn't look like it can afford to have them. Is that a mean thing to say? Because I have a lot of time that 100 in Melbourne is probably one of the greatest Indian hundreds by anybody. But look at the situation, the pressure. He gets the captaincy. The mighty Virat is gone, and the quiet Ajinkya is in, and he really delivered. We had tears in our eyes, and that Melbourne is just
Oh yeah, we had. And
1 year to the date.
you wanted to rename Mikhail to Ajinkya. You remember
I,
that?
I did. Hit me on the head and punched me in the stomach, and he's still a Steve Smith fan, so we don't get into that because the government will send us a letter. Bro, I don't know. I'm just feeling so bad because I really thought they've really done. They played so many interesting innings. Cheteshwar has done so well in so many conditions. What a huge record in India up to a point, but I don't see how they can play in the next season.
No, and you've got to look at the future at some point because all of them are, the trouble is all of them are the same age group, right? I mean, they played the under 19 World Cups around the
So
same
is
time.
Virat. So is
All are
Rohit.
33, 34.
All,
Exactly.
all are the 30, 34. All 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, but the first two casualties, if I may use the word, would be firstly
Yeah.
Ajinkya, and then I think Pujara. But if Pujara gets big runs, then you never know. If he has a resurrection, as say someone like a Rahul Dravid had.
I'm thinking Nishad start an India B side, which plays Test cricket. India A was India B, maybe more exciting than India against many, without disrespecting the nations, except the big four, the Sena countries. I think you go outside that, India A, India B will be more exciting. Okay, let's rewind a little bit now.
Yeah,
And then we'll
absolutely.
come at the end. We'll come back to your predictions on South Africa, so that we keep that in perspective. I want to go back. We already discussed Melbourne. We couldn't believe our eyes. We thought India after 36 all out had no chance in hell, and what a turnaround! What great, and just the romance of Indian cricket again. That feeling you had in '83 in 2011, it's sort of rekindled again 2007. So take us to your thoughts on the Brisbane Test quickly. We just saw Australia obliterate England in the first set of the Ashes, business as usual. Almost every session was theirs from the beginning, 147 all out. But what the hell did they do wrong? They said 340 odd, 328 for an Indian team on the last day against a crack bowling attack in their conditions with a new ball in hand, and they lost.
Oh yeah, and there is one anecdote that I tell people about. This happened at my home, and so basically, my dad, he doesn't watch too many highlights of games. For him, the live sport is what it is. Be it football, cricket, it's done. It's done. He'll have it in his memory. He'll watch his other shows and everything. Loves his Netflix and all. But I saw the man one day going to YouTube, typing Gabba Test Day 5 highlights. And this is a few months after that, and watching the whole day again. I mean, 20 or 25 minutes. And then I'm like, Dad, what are you
The
doing?
arrogance of Washington Sundar. That is
Yeah,
fantastic. Couldn't believe it. But these guys were born well after, God knows, they had no fear of Australians. Sorry, yeah, you were saying.
exactly. I mean, that just shows how much it meant to, people who also seen cricket for a long time. And I think Gabba really ranks like
You know what? If I was
way,
a
way
betting
out.
man, See, you and I love the game. Okay, if you are betting men, we could make money. And this is a warning to anyone who bets on cricket. It's against the law. We don't encourage it. I don't know Raj Kundra personally, but I'm just saying that I don't know whether anyone is involved with anything. But I'm just saying, in India, it's against the law, so we don't encourage it. But as a betting man, let's say living in Portugal, where it is allowed by law and they love cricket, you would immediately, without blinking, put your house on Australia defending 330 or whatever the hell it was with that attack in the fourth innings at Brisbane. There was just no data to show that India would upset the apple cart there. It's like India losing, India giving 400 to a team to chase in Indian conditions with our spinners. I mean, really, it's a no contest. So I mean, this
And
is really this people have to understand the importance of this win. It's just unbelievable.
it's unbelievable. And I thought at best they may draw, and especially after Rohit got out early.
We thought
Yeah, we thought, now, because Rohit was someone who could score quickly.
when Ajinkya, yeah, he looked like he was thinking of trying to prolong the game a little bit more, and then, but what he said later made sense. They were just trying to pace themselves to see whether the final onslaught could happen. But I think you can't tell Rishabh Pant what to do anyway,
No,
you
you
know.
can't.
And when he doesn't come off, he looks like a, whatever he looks like. But when he does come off, they didn't know what to do.
They didn't know
He was
what to
playing
do,
an
and
IPL match.
just the
Yeah,
audacity of it. He steps out to Lion, misses it. Tim Payne also misses it because it turns a mile and it goes for 4. Next ball, he again charges down the track and deposits it right over long gone. And you just look at the audacity of it. The previous ball, it's like it never happened. I mean, any other batsman may have possibly waited on the back foot, not tried to do anything stupid, but he just backed himself and went and did it. And sometimes it
you
comes
know,
off, sometimes it doesn't. And
the greats of the game, exactly taking from your point, it's almost like they forget the ball before. It has no bearing on the match because they're always playing in the now. While some people have that baggage, and we would have it as amateur cricketers. If you're beaten by the guy or hit on the shoulder or whatever, the next ball you're scarred. You're on the back foot, whatever. But there are some guys who really they just forgotten it. I mean, Sheva comes to mind immediately. Just forget it. They make the game really simple, and sometimes you're wondering, are we idiots like you and me, Pandit, just complicating something? So this guy comes like a mad genius. Exactly what you said. Should have been out. Doesn't give a damn. Next ball over the top. Oof, you can't believe it. But for me, the Washington Sundar moment where he hits that six,
oh,
I
yeah.
my hair stood up, and I was like, what are they on? And you could see the Aussie body language change. You could see them like a punch in the guts. Anyway, we got to move on from that. But what a romance, man! And I know
Oh,
we didn't
yeah.
win that T20, and we will talk about that. But you give me beat Australia in Gabba and T20 World Cup, and I'm so sorry to say this, but I will say this: burn me, come on tomorrow, destroy me. I want you to mutilate me. I don't care. I will take Gabba every day. What about you, Nishad?
I will take Gabba because it was historic. 31 years or something that they hadn't lost.
So many teams, great teams, good Indian teams have gone there. Crack West Indian teams in the 90s, still having some power. Good English sides with their top pace attack and this and that. New Zealand, conditions somewhat
Pakistan,
similar here.
the 90s of
Pakistan,
Pakistan.
90s,
Yeah.
yes. Sorry, I forgot Pakistan. South Africa, the one team you always think goes head to head with them. And not this South African team, which we should beat, but that South African team from the past. And these guys were unbeatable. And they played the game in such a way that I would say they set it up for themselves on day 5. On day 5, when they woke up, Australians must have got up and said, "Okay, mate, we'll be drinking up here in about 2 hours and 20 minutes, 1.5 sessions. Should bowl the team out." But शायद यार मतलब दिल्ली से आ गए यार मतलब समझ में नहीं आते. I don't care about this.
It's like at Kolkata, you remember one of the Aussie players actually had a few cigars ready because in expectation to celebrate, especially on day 4. But then Rahul and VVS batted the whole day.
Oh, that was another. My God, really. Sometimes if you put together these 5 or 6 Indian moments which don't make sense, and you just think of them back to back, I think you'll think you're in a coma or something. It's just not. It's just unbelievable. That I've told the story before. We were shooting with colonial cousins, and I was just
Yes, I
checking with
remember
my
that story.
mom, and I remember because we didn't have any other option. I was calling her up and saying, "Mom, what's the score? What's the score?" I was just checking, thinking, just get this match over with, and so I wasn't that keen because I thought it's ending very fast. Second innings now, follow on. No, still batting. Still batting. Then the shoot got over and we started running away home and it was like almost end of day's play. What? 200 plus? What are you talking about? That poor Rahul Dravid made 180 and nobody remembers. 180 in a test match in the second innings against an Australian attack, the best Australian attack since the 48 Invincibles. And no one remembers. It's just why we digressing, Nishad? Like this, we're 20 minutes into the show. We only in January.
Yeah, I know. We are only in
We've got 11 months to cover. Okay, let's fast forward a
We've
little
got
bit.
11 months to come out,
No, fair enough. But but Brisbane
but we've
deserved.
got a few breaks still.
And Brisbane deserved that love, yeah. So that was the ghazal. That was the the superfluous music that we have. Now we get some pop music out. England flattered to deceive. One Test match. Why is it that we lose the first Test match? What's that story? Any series we always give away. I'm sure Boxing Day Test is just which will come to towards the end. I'm sure we'll just give it to them and then beat them in the next two. So what's the story with India?
It is strange, I mean, is it a mindset thing? Because it's been happening for years
Are we
now.
back travelers? Do we take time? Is that it?
I wouldn't say we are bad travelers, but maybe in the first test, you're trying too many things, and those things aren't working out. Possibly, you're trying this, you're trying that, and it just we don't know. Like,
Chennai first test and Chennai second test, and I was coming back to Chennai from Dubai in between, so I remember this clearly. There's a huge difference in the wicket. I mean,
yeah,
it spun. The second test spun like I mean, God knows, like a top, and the first didn't really low and slow, which allowed our sweeper from England, the world number one batsman who was toppled a few minutes ago by Marnus, to make a double century, if you remember. So we were caught off guard.
yeah, it just freaked India out. I think after that, I mean, the way he got those runs, and it was just a little too much.
But there was a story there. He got some runs, but not much support. So what you're seeing is again a one-man show. And England has they're discussing, and I've been listening to all their podcasts because I love the way Nasir Hussain and people chat. I got to tell you, England is not looking inwards. The fact that Joe Root is the only batsman. You're looking at the
Hmm.
plethora of batsmen around him. What are the averages? You know what the averages are, Nishad? You probably know better than me. They're like in their 20s, bro. Ollie
Yeah,
Pope has played 100 matches. What is his average?
no, it's on the high side.
Johnny Bairstow's on the sidelines and going to replace him has got no runs for 10 tests. What are you talking about? And the openers?
Ollie Pope is the only one who's got a good average. All the others, like look at Burns, Sibley, they aren't as impressive. And in fact, I think I've just got it here. Ollie Pope, his average is it's in the first class average. If we are going to look at that, it's 51. So yeah, so he's the only one.
But I'm talking about this test average. Had so many opportunities. Where are the runs?
Yeah, he's not.
It,
So
put them as Indians. Put them as Indians. They won't be. What will they get? We have to get rid of almost like Rahane and Pujara. We can't put them in 11, and it's not like they've completely failed. They've
yeah,
had a
exactly.
year and a half, which has not been that good. But I mean, they're still there thereabouts. But these guys get so many chances, and they've got a Joe Root who's batting last two seasons the best batting England has had for since Alistair Cook, but no one to support him. So, and that's something which how are they going to win the Ashes? You cannot win the Ashes with one
You cannot.
batsman in Australian conditions. Look at the way we just mentioned Hanuman Vihari, that huge partnership there. Sundar had a little bit. Thakur batted well, and of course our Offie who has 5 Test centuries, and we have to talk about Ravi versus Ravi if we have time. Also
Hmm.
performed. So I just think they just don't have enough talent. Is that a fair thing to say? Batting talent?
They don't have, I think, enough first class batting talent. I think which is
That's
come through first class cricket, and they're saying now. I read somewhere someone saying that there are too many teams possibly, and England aren't picking because you look at some of the talent in white ball cricket, and it's amazing, and it's just a reversal.
Livingston is the answer. They were discussing that, but Liam Livingston, I mean, that's a punt. You really think a
Yeah,
guy who hits the ball harder than anybody else is the one to put in the Australian conditions? I'm saying it's possible. It's not nothing. I mean, who knows? Can't say for sure. But let's just quick forward. Second, third, and fourth test was a massacre. In fact,
hmm.
it just got ridiculous. By the fourth test, they couldn't play spin. I mean, they
Hmm.
saw firstly they couldn't pronounce Akshar's name, then Axa and Aksa and whatever the hell they said to him. But
So you know the story about it being AXAR, right? So
yeah, I think you did tell us. But do say it again.
so he actually used to spell it AKSHAR. Went to apply for a passport, and the passport officer there made it AXAR. So he just had to run with it.
But why did the passport officer do that?
I have absolutely no
Was
idea.
he
It just happened.
a left arm Chinaman, and so there was a rivalry? Just bad
Yeah,
cricket
who
joke.
knows?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So anyway, just to get to let's talk of more positive side, which is India's side. So then again, we are the kings that we always were. I was always worried that Indian batsmen playing spin have deteriorated. I think we've discussed this also, possibly not on the show, but we have you and me. And I'm not trying to compare the Gavaskar era or anything like that, but I'm just thinking they would be waiting for the off spinner to come on from England. I mean, you look
Hmm.
at the Vishwanaths, the Gavaskar, that lineup, and they were like, okay, this is going because that would be like a club spinner for them considering what we had at home. And then suddenly we looked at pace bowling. And I'm talking about domestic sides. We have the Hazare going on as we speak. And everywhere there's plethora and plenty of fast bowlers and less spinners. And where are the off spinners in Mumbai, for example? They seem to have dried up. Okay, as you can see, our pathetic performance is just now this last couple of weeks. So that was covered. You feel we still have talent. Akshar, at least in home conditions, he can't get to play because of 11 being what it is. Just a quick note here: Ijaz Patel has been dropped for the Bangladesh Test
Yeah.
match in Wellington. Right? He got 10 wickets. Now this is a world record. You take 10 wickets. Your last time you got a ball in your hand, and then you get dropped for the next test because they don't want a serious spinner in the 11. So they've got his what's his Rachin, unbelievable name.
Ravindra.
But he's more a batsman who turns it over, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As far as I can see.
That's right. And imagine getting 10 wickets and getting dropped. It's like Andy Sandham getting that triple century in the 1930s and never playing again.
Yeah.
But that was a different era.
Yeah. Also,
Jason Gillespie getting 201 and never playing again.
yeah, that was also very sad. But the fact of the matter is the end of his bowling career, etc. So you can put it together somewhat. But here, in this case, this guy's at his peak in a sense. He's come
Absolutely.
alive. He's brought breath into the New Zealand game, etc. But anyway, that's their problem for another day, which we can't solve right now because we've got our own. Quickly, so to be expected at the end, the 3-1 scoreline. They got that one anomaly of a wicket which didn't spin too much, and they took advantage of that. Don't have the batsman, and they came off. It was back to 1993. I remember Gooch's side where they just couldn't play the spin, and in between they have these players who come like Graham Fowler, Mike Gatting, who do perform. David Garb made 200 in Chennai once, but I don't know how England at the moment, for me, England and South Africa are looking very weak in the batting. Maybe I'm wrong in the Test batting lineup. I just feel, where is the stars? Who's going to really shine? As we look at India, if India doesn't win this series, I honestly, I'll be a wreck. I'll be a wreck. I can't think of a weaker.
It is India's best
It's the
chance.
weakest batting attack they've ever had. And now with Norke gone from the bowling, it's severely weak in the bowling because that's the pair you have to worry about. Rabada and him together,
And
right?
you don't have Faf du Plessis anymore in the batting.
Du Plessis gone, De Villiers gone, Hashim Amla, don't forget that
Yeah.
rock gone. I mean, really. So, and De Kock out for this game as well, because of the birth of his child.
I think
No
so.
pun on no pun on his name, but well,
But when you're looking at a South African lineup, you've just got a Dean Elgar at the top
that's it.
who really grits it out. That's it. And Aiden Markram hasn't quite lived up to his potential in red ball cricket. He definitely
Yeah.
can do a lot more. And
Yeah.
I don't know about the others. Like there is a Bavuma. He looks good.
Bavuma looks good when he bats. Sometimes on the offside, he looks fabulous. I do like watching him bat. I'll say that. But there are 30s, there are 40s. Where are the hundreds? Where are the big
Where are the
hundreds?
hundreds exactly?
The daddy hundreds, as Goose used to call them.
And South Africa they had all batsmen who used to get those daddy head hits. Graham Smith.
You're not going to beat India.
Hmm.
I don't want to be arrogant, but you will not beat this Indian team with 275 and 300. You've got to make some runs. You want to beat us, you got to make some runs. There's no way you make 275 and then bowl us up for 150. And also, I know 36 happened, so don't remind me. But by and large, I say you're not going to beat us. There's just too much batting talent that we have till 10, for God's sake, if you look at it. And we prove that.
You've got
abroad.
batting talent, you've got bowling talent. It's become really balanced. And South Africa, actually, the batting looks a little light now. With obviously with someone like a Nokia going out, they lose that extra zing in the bowling as well. Because you've got Rabada. Rabada is good, no doubt. Ngidi is fine. I mean, but we thought he would be.
But he would be the third teamer.
Yeah, he would be another Rabada. We thought that, but he hasn't quite been the next Rabada.
They've got that Dwan Olivier coming back, which is very
Dwan
confusing
Olivier,
because of the whole callback thing. Very talented guy, then got upset about the racial quota thing and took off. Now they've brought him back. I'm not quite clear why and how, but I would put him in straight up. I think in their conditions, he could be a demon bowler. He can be really vicious and do things with the ball.
He could be.
And with his height as well. But I think it's fast to lose. What do you say, Nishad? Fairly?
It's India's best chance. They should have won. They had a very good chance in 2010 as well, but that was an extremely good South African bowling lineup, and that was 1-1. 2013, again, it could have been 1-1, but 2018, missed opportunities, did not quite capitalize on those moments. So this is definitely the best chance because South Africa aren't that
2018, I felt frankly that if we had played a 5-test series, and it's a big call to make, I think we'd have won 3-2. I think by the time the third test came, we were really firing on all cylinders. But again, we're slow starters. Certain wickets will always suit their bowlers, and their attack was more potent than it is today.
They attacked. They had, I mean, you had Rabada, you had Stain as well, you had Mokel, Philander in the first test. Stain got injured there.
Stain, Mokel, Philander go into top category of bowlers in any generation. All three of them. Okay, top. And in their conditions, top. And I don't know, we have only Rabada. For me, at the moment, it's only Rabada and Juan Oliver walks in. That's it. So let's see how he performs. We have no idea about his form. Okay, that's the England series done and dusted. Then we had that World Test Championship. We traveled there. That was the only moment, because for me, the T20 hiccup wasn't that bad a moment. I felt there was overkill with IPL and the COVID problems, etc. But the World Test Championship, we had a nice break. We had long time in England before. We got a little preparation time. We got to watch their two tests against England. So, we were able to gauge the thing and
Hmm.
all that. I honestly felt that was the only test match the whole year we were off,
Yes.
just off our game. What do you think?
Of our game, and possibly we got it wrong with the selection. Possibly, you look at picking two spinners, although they did expect the wicket to turn later. You can't predict the rain, but having seen the surface on day one and the conditions, don't you think someone like a Siraj should have played instead of the extra spinner?
It's called hindsight, no, bro. Now we also were going to bat first, bat fourth. In the end of the
Yeah.
day, all these things come into consideration. But quickly, now that you segue there, Ravi versus Ravi. Ravi Ashwin is not holding back. He's better than me. I think you've watched and listened to everything he's had to say. Do you believe that Ravi and Virat not that fond of him, didn't want to play him? Why did we play him in those four tests that followed?
Again, that was really tricky and difficult to understand, but it looks like, I think, especially after the Lord's test, having had that win, they just stuck with the winning combination. And to be fair to Ravindra Jadeja, I think he did quite decently, especially at the Oval as well, when on the last day you needed those wickets. But I felt Ashwin should have played, and I'm not really sure why. You don't know
But
exactly.
traditionally, at least at the Oval, you play two spinners.
Yes.
It's a tough call. But do you think he's been hard done by? But it's not just the England series. He says there has been no empathy for him, and in fact, that's the exact word he's using. Empathy is putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, being sensitive to the fact that I'm injured, it's a real injury, helping me through it, and without pointing fingers and all, the management to be blamed by him.
No, I look at it. I look at it in a very similar way to what happened to Kumble when Harbhajan did well in 2001, and for 2 years, Harbhajan was India's number one spinner overseas, and Kumble was someone who sort of sat out. He also lost his ODI spot. He wasn't a regular anymore. And then you've got you've got the Australia series, and then he just turns it around. Anil Kumble in 2003-4. Ashwin, similar age at the moment, had his injury issues. So I think, again, Judd being preferred for his batting, that may have been one of the cases. But yeah, it's really difficult to say what nowadays there is so much content in terms of, fine, this happened in the dressing room, that happened, he said this, he said that. You
Nishad,
don't know what. Yeah.
not only that, everyone talks now. No? Thanks to this bloody Twitter and Insta and all that, everyone's opinions are out there. We don't even know if it's their own sometimes, but they're all talking. So you the Manjrekar versus Jadeja comes to mind immediately. I mean, it's or Pollard versus Manjrekar. Manjrekar, yes, has a few notches on his belt, but I'm saying that also is a problem, because I'm saying that how do people get along when on the face to face they don't have confrontations and talk things through, but through their people or through their internet voices they make their points heard. And this is not just in India, this is happening across the world of sport. So I think that's going to be a real problem going forward. I think we should ban them from the internet. While you're playing active sport, don't comment. Just play the game quietly.
And most player contracts actually have got a term, which says that you aren't supposed to tweet anything about any selection issues in advance. Nothing that you tweet should be, critical or share critical of your teammate, of your team owner in case of an IPL, of your management or anything of that sort. So those terms are very much there. But again, now we look at, if you write something which is hinting towards something, but then you don't fall under that area. Again, my lawyer mind is working here, looking at the gray areas. So I think that's what happens. And sometimes social media and the noise coming from outside, maybe just aggravates the whole issue. And that's possibly what we've seen in a lot of things. And yeah, I mean, there is a nice anecdote from VVS Lakshman's book, by the way. He, when he announced his retirement the test match was in Hyderabad, he announced his retirement, and some of the Indian players called him and said that, oh, you've announced retirement, so let's meet up. So a few like Sachin, Sehwag, Gambhir, and a few others went over to his place. MS wasn't there, and media caught wind of it. So then they started playing this thing about MS, VVS not being happy with him. And VVS was asked, why wasn't MS there? And he's like, how difficult it is to get through to MS, which it is. MS is not known to keep his mobile phone really active or to take calls. It's quite famous and well known. But then later, VVS was really troubled by the whole controversy that people are talking about him not getting along with MS. And apparently, when he meets MS next time, MS just tells him, "Why are you worrying about it? This happens to me all the time. Just forget about it." And they just have a good laugh about it. So a lot of it happens outside, the noise, and it just aggravates it. But possibly on the inside, it's not as bad. Possibly there may be issues. I mean, come on, you live at home with your family 12 months of a year. Of course, you don't get along all the time. These guys are spending more time with each other than their own families.
Yeah, we won't get into Virat versus Rohit here, but I'm sick of it now. But also, exactly that. Exactly that. The fact is that who cares? They fight here and there. They're humans. I don't care. We're winning. We're winning. Red ball
Yeah,
cricket, we're
exactly.
winning. That counts for me. We'll quickly get into England, where we led 2-1. We want to say the series is undecided, and we will play a test match next year in June. Fair enough. And that will decide it. If they win, it's equal to all. But for us, where we stand, it looked like, again, England was slightly out of their depth in their own conditions, which has never happened in the last couple of series.
And it could have easily been 3-1. Nottingham, last day, if it hadn't rained, 3-1. I
3-1.
mean, if there is one result I'd like to change this year, it would be in the Nottingham test. I mean, there was a poll the other day with one of the cricket websites. I would have changed the Nottingham test result. It would have been 3-1.
But what do you think? Just about two tours back, we were really struggling against England. I'm talking about the Rahul Dravid series where he made all the runs and nobody else did it. What a crack lineup we had. English conditions, the ball moves around. They still had their bowlers. Okay, Anderson may not be what he was, but he's nearly there. Broad was injured. What changed where the Indian batting? We didn't seem to be struggling. We always seem to have a few runs on the board. Our late middle order fired. What happened? The conditions were the same.
I think the opening got a lot better. Remember the last time we weren't quite sure about our opening. KL Rahul was not in good touch. He only opened later on when Pujara came back at 3. Shikhar Dhawan was there, made a few contributions, was in and out. Then Murli Vijay was again struggling on that tour. This time, what happened was that you had a KL and a Rohit who were willing to spend time in the middle, and I think that made a big change because the bowling was the same. Bowling was nearly the same with the addition of a Mohammad Siraj. But the opening combination made a big difference. They contributed when
I
it
think that's
was
a
really
fabulous
mattered.
point,
Yeah.
Nishad. I think in both these countries, you need the openers to fire. Australia, and if you're going to take down Australia and Australia, or England and England. In the Ashes, as we speak, I think England's big problem is that they'll be two done for nothing, and then the match starts. So if you're 10 for 2 every time, and then you get Root and Malan to try and dig you out of a hole, and it's all defensive batting, Australia just remains on top. And that I think we negated that with KL Rahul. You expected Root to fire. I just think his talent is unbelievable, and KL Rahul showed that if he really puts his foot down, you know. And he's again batted everywhere. He's one of those guys who you mentioned Hanuman Vihari, but he batted everywhere. Nishad, we have to take a break. My sponsor, who's still to come on, says that take a break now because if
Okay.
we follow the rules, then it's very clear. We're expecting sponsorship from the government of Thailand. What did you think?
Okay.
Yes.
I'd like to know what the ad is.
Ah, just a simple massage between friends. That's the copy. Okay, we're taking a break. We're bringing in the man who hates cricket, the one and only, the spectacular, the beautiful, live from Powai, Silvery.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On The Wire Talks, it's all about the Beatles. Oliver Krasky, author and freelance editor who has closely worked with the famous band in the past, tells Siddharth why they're so loved even today. On All Things Policy, the folks at the Takshashila Institute discuss Russia's motives, why it's insecure with the G2, and the logic behind its growing alliance with China. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Nikhil Agarwal. He is the co-founder and CEO of Grip Invest, and they discuss the working of lease and inventory finance in India. The Simplified Gang speaks to author Suman Srivastava about her new book, Don't Beg, Inspire. And on the Filter Coffee podcast, Surya Swapna, founder of Kathavani, talks to Karthik about mythological storytelling for children. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Go check out our YouTube channels. We go live on a whole bunch of different things. We have a number of different channels. You can find them on ivmpodcast.com/YouTube. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week: Cred, Bank of Baroda, CoinSwitch Kuber, Intel, and Oxfam India. Thank you for making this possible.
Tales from Panchkani with Silvery. Silvery, do come in.
Hello, Hello, sir.
I've got
How are you
good
doing?
news. Good news and bad news, Silvery. The good news is
Yeah,
that you're here. The bad news is we still have
yeah.
got a few matches to talk about. Because I'm
Damn
going as
it.
fast as I can to cover here. And Shavik Bakshi opens the batting in Rohit Sharma style, plays this
Yeah.
through mid
So
wicket
shall
for
I start
four.
messaging in the chat? Yeah. I'm alive, guys. This is me. This is not a body double. This is I haven't gotten an extra
And
something going for
no
me.
yawning today. No Kunal, no
I'll try my
Kunal
best.
behavior.
I actually
Yeah.
have an
It's
article.
just India winning in Gabba. Okay, it's not that boring. It's just that.
Yeah,
My God, Nishad.
I do have an article from News 18 which talks about the year ender 2021 top moments from the world of cricket in 2021.
And
And some of the things like Gabba, you've already talked about the
Gabatwa.
Gabba heist.
Huh.
Yeah. They also have the New Zealand World Champions finally. Did you guys already talk about that?
Yeah,
Yeah, we did.
we
Okay.
took our punches. We took our
Okay.
punches. Okay.
Rodriguez roars.
One thing, how do you not know that as the producer? Would you not be listening to the last half an hour?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
spoke
But
in depth
man,
about New Zealand, India. There was a
yeah, yeah.
proper
But how much,
conversation.
yeah? Like, how much will I pay attention
Uh,
to
yeah.
cricket? I can't
If it
even.
was a lecture in college, Silvery would have definitely
Yeah.
bunked this one. Oh, Silvery, well,
Yeah, yeah.
why
I
lie?
was.
We've got a
This
comment.
lecture
Someone
was
saying you've just
no,
woken up.
no, yeah. See,
No, no.
the thing is, there are a few guys who are actively watching
Yeah,
this
correct.
podcast, so that now they
Wake up.
just know us through
Yeah,
and through. They're like our psychiatrists. There's no point lying.
yeah, yeah.
So he's got to put his hand up and say, "Yes, you're right. I hate this episode. I hate this topic." Yeah. If we were a cocktail party, Nishad, you and me are cricket nerds. So we drive away people. Certain people. Only the cricket lovers would come next to us. So because I don't, it's like a caste system. Just a, did you kiss me on live podcast? Chicks dig this. Huh? Yeah, yeah. That's not my sister. Huh? That's my wife. Okay.
Okay.
Now this is the show he likes. Now Silvery is back. This is good comedy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Get Aisha back. We'll talk anything
he
but cricket.
hates cricket. Hates
Yeah,
cricket means
I'm sure.
used to say things like, "But I thought Lara is a model." Who, by the way, was an actress by then. That's a double
Yeah.
slap.
Lara,
But anyway,
yeah.
yeah, they're making fun of you. Uh, she's
No,
she's
you're
a,
making fun of her.
she's that second slip. There's not much I can do. There you go. Live on the podcast to keep Silvery interested. The host is shot dead. There you
Oh,
go.
someone.
2 point.
But look at that comment. Someone has said Silvery is the Ravi Shastri of this podcast. Now, someone's got to explain that. He's got.
Okay, now I'll explain this because I'll tell you. Okay, and what he's
He
trying to say
drinks a
is
lot.
no, and also there's some people think that Ravi doesn't do anything. Okay, so Ravi just
Oh,
we win the match because Ravi comes, hey boys, well played, everybody well played, and goes back to the bar. Okay, which is not
nice.
Ravi Shastri. I mean, he's actually a very good
Yeah.
man motivator, but nobody ever takes that into consideration. Just look at him as this guy who talented bunch of people go park, bat, bowl. He's
No,
off.
but also the fact that people don't give him enough credit. I mean, I know, but he's taken it so sportingly. I mean, he's like, if people want to
He's a
have him at
he's
my
a
expense,
great
they
guy,
can.
Nishad. He's
Oh yeah,
he's a great guy because when they used to I don't know if you were around when they used to jeer him. I've been in Wankhede and I'm looking around these guys going Shastri, hi hi. So why? For no reason. They would just pick on him, the only cricketer in my generation growing up.
he found a way to keep Steven Smith and Labuschagne quiet last year. You've got to give him
Forget
that.
that. This is the best coaching. Go back for 4 years. The best coaching red ball record. Do the match. You're the
Absolutely.
do the match and show me. He's number one.
And
No
when
one's
he
talking about the fact that he's number one. Last 4
and when
years,
he
Ravi
started
Shastri is number one.
in 2017, I remember when Ravi Shastri started, he said this team is going to achieve a lot more than any Indian team has in history, and a lot of people laugh. But today, who's laughing? He is. I mean, his point is proved in Test cricket.
I don't think he cares. He doesn't
Yeah.
care. He plays his game and he goes and he does have his drink. There's no denying that. So he's off. He doesn't care. But I think the record is second to none, and you got to just respect that. But the same thing I feel bad about is someone like Rahul Gandhi, who may not be as stupid as people think he is. He may not be a great orator. He may not sometimes say the right things in a public place or whatever. But that really doesn't actually add up to much, except that you're not good with spontaneity and with people, which is a different skill set. Nishad, wouldn't you say? Like, I think I'm okay with that skill set, but I have no depth to me.
In the meantime, I want to continue the list if I can continue the list.
Yeah,
with you.
go ahead.
Next is Rodriguez, Jemima Rodriguez scoring 100 in the 249 in the women's cricket World Cup, if I'm not wrong, women's competition. Again, I know so little about
No,
cricket.
was it the 100 in the 100?
The 100? Yeah,
Yeah.
the 100 was
That was
launched
the
with
domestic new concept in England, so they got that.
Okay, wow. So
Yeah,
you saw.
she did really well there. I think you've got to send me the link.
Next is Patel's memorable. Homecoming. Okay, I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
Patel's memorable homecoming.
Whose
This is
memorable
another one.
homecoming?
Patel. This is Patel's summation of his mind-bending historic event was heartening.
He's Mumbai born. Yeah. So yeah, it was a memorable homecoming, coming here and getting 10 wickets in Mumbai, and seriously amazing. Yeah, we've got
Wow.
so yeah, a lot of things to look forward to. But it's quite odd actually talking cricket with you. I never thought it would happen, but here we
I
are.
don't
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
And
It is
yeah,
so funny.
where's Cyrus though? I mean, where's he gone?
Yeah, I'm waiting for Cyrus to come back. Yeah, this is taking a while. Cyrus, what happened? Okay. One more. We got Polosak creates history. The Australian Claire Polosak continued to break the glass ceiling. She was officiated in several top women's competitions, including the World Cups, and additionally has several firsts to her name thanks to her involvement in a host of matches in men's professional cricket.
Yeah, I mean, you look at women's cricket and the way the profile has grown for the sport. It's really amazing. And what really stands
Yeah,
out for me is the fact that there are genuine role models now. They were there earlier, but those role models are now visible, very much there in your face. So young girls around the globe, can look at someone and be really, really inspired. And there's Cyrus with his ring light.
Yeah.
Mine is right here, by the way.
Guys,
Yeah.
you won't believe what happened. Our Jio internet expired, as in we have to recharge it. Yeah,
Expired.
the
Oh,
day
wow.
before
Expired.
today,
What do you
nobody
want?
checked, but we didn't have the
What
money.
are
No
you?
worries.
Amit, if you're listening, it expired. How much is it, Aisha? I'm not
Sure.
sure. How much? I think it's over.
Are you on hotspot now?
You're on hotspot. I know. There's a second internet, but it took me. I had to walk up steps and yeah.
No. This Malabar Hill, man. Nishad, what are you
हाँ, हम
thinking?
लोग तो गरीब
They
है.
don't have. They have
केवल
like 5
केवल
internets.
दो. Exactly, we are nothing. Look at
Yeah.
our neighbors, 7,
Yeah, yeah.
8. Yeah,
Yeah.
each household in Mulberry has 5 chauffeurs and 7 Wi-Fi's. Wi-Fi, not wife.
Correct.
So calm down,
Wives.
calm down. The one with the wife has no chauffeurs and nothing left, all taken. Yeah. Okay, guys, sorry. I'm
Okay.
so sorry. I apologize. I'm a third world man living in a first world country. You may hear my dad coughing in the background, beyond my control. Where were we?
We were looking at it was Silvery. He was running a cricket conversation with us, and there are viewers asking
Trying really
God, I
hard
feel
to.
really bad.
Trying really hard to.
I mean, what the hell have I done here? The one topic I left him with
Yeah.
the last. Anything else he'd have carried on with aplomb, and now we leave him with
Yeah.
a cricket
This is like,
nerd,
I had
one of
no
the
idea.
top of the line cricket nerds. It's like you might as well be a Russian guy and a French guy trying to have a conversation. I mean, what fun that would be. Yeah. But
Man.
if we
Thanks.
get before we do AMAs, we haven't got into the IPL. We'll have to just move forward now. The IPL had 2 parts. Did you think, and you were there, you're in the middle of the IPL, did you feel that the second half lost a little of its sizzle? Or is it fair for you to say this in the first? I'm just asking you as an observer, in terms of the fact that once it goes to the Gulf, it doesn't have the sort of impact. I'm sure they'll understand that's, I mean, it's fair to say that it has
but you
at
know
home.
what? I mean, for us, like having been there, we found the sizzle because the crowds were back, and the vibe was back, and just to see, even if it was that one game, just to see MS boss the attack at the end and get his team home.
One game, it was
worth
1 over.
One
It was
over.
1 over.
Yeah, but it was. I mean, for those moments, I think and then Harshal Patel doing very well. I think we had to look at those moments, especially getting to watch Harshal Patel's hat trick and MS doing all that. So, and the crowds coming back, that for me was a highlight. And walking out there, I remember on the 19th of September when the first game after comeback, and just seeing the crowd back, and it just made me feel so good.
And what was Nishad Pai Vaidya's position as a bubble person? That because I remember talking to you, and how was that for you? They all talk about this cricket fatigue and mental fatigue, blah blah blah. But what people don't know is the whole circus is in the bubble,
Yeah.
which means you guys
So-
have suffered as much as the cricketers because you're stuck. And what do you do? For example, you just sit in your room.
We sit, luckily, once you have obviously cleared all the tests and you're a part of the bubble, you can so we had common areas we could sit. So we had a common room where I'd set up a PlayStation, there was a carom board, and we would just play PS. Luckily we had gym access, so which was part of the bubble.
So you could interact with the players and other officials and all that.
No, so we, as an organizing for the IPL, we were in another hotel, but when we moved to the World Cup, we moved to another hotel.
Was it a cheaper hotel, Nishad?
No, it was the World Cup. It was a bigger hotel actually, because we were with we were with one of
Because
the
you
teams.
guys are
So,
winners, whatever happens. Well, there only one team wins in the end. The rest don't deserve 5 star
yeah,
because they didn't win. Yeah, but was it hard?
it was. I mean, being having been in the bubble, being a foodie, I became a bit of a bubble myself,
Yeah,
and
you ate some illegal
so
meat, which is illegal in Uttar Pradesh. I know that. You sent me a picture. That was wrong of you, bro. Apologize to the government and the
Uh,
country. Say the truth now.
oh,
yeah.
so sorry, so
Yeah,
sorry.
but
But
no, I was just
Tiger meat. You're talking about tiger meat is
tiger
illegal.
meat. Yeah, don't ever do that.
Tiger.
Yeah.
But coming back to the
Yeah.
fact that because we read these articles where they talk about mental fatigue and what we're going through and blah blah blue blue, and this is Australians, English, Indians, all have spoken. This is
Hmm.
across the world, and sometimes I think, look, guy, I would do anything to be you. I don't mind if they put me in a 5 star hotel for 3 bloody months, because I'm playing for India. I wear the cap. I get to, face Australia's best bowlers. I mean, so from one point of view, I'm wondering, is it really that bad? Some of them get to keep their families with them, but then they are locked in a confined space.
They are locked,
Are
and
you
and
worse? That
for me, 2 months, it was tricky. It wasn't easy. It was tricky. Got through it, but I'm thinking of these guys who have been in it for 6 months. Like, there have been very few intervals in between, and so it gets it. I mean, if it was tricky for me for 2 months, even for me, it's an amazing opportunity being there. But
yeah.
for these guys, also having been around for 6 months in various bubbles, it does
Yeah,
get to
back
you.
to back.
Yeah.
They get a few days off and go back again. It's
Yes.
bubble. So they're bubbles. They're not cricketers anymore. At the end of the day, it's just a bunch of bubbles.
Yeah. You go from
But
one bubble to another.
is it true, Nisha, that lots of women visited your room and broke the bubble cordon in a sense?
Okay, that'll get me into real trouble. Just an insinuation. I'll get into trouble with that, with the anti-corruption
For
officer.
not being
Then,
gay. How dare you? For not being gay. This is a new politically correct world. How dare you not be gay?
oh, there, it's buzzing already. The anti-corruption officer. What are you hearing on Cyrus's
You're
show?
top
It's
of the
not good.
list. You're top of the list when it comes to that. Okay. Shall we take the AMAs? And of course, then we come to the South
Yes,
African
absolutely.
series, but I'm sure we'll get questions on that, so we can go straight into it. Silvery
So
at his best,
absolutely
reading out the notes now.
the
Don't worry, we don't have to
yeah, I'm the
discuss.
best
Don't
at
discuss
this.
the game. Don't have to get through it.
This is
But
this is
but
the
Silvery, if
yes, yes,
just
exactly.
one question as we start, did you ever feel the kind of buzz that we felt when India beat Australia, or when India loses in the T20 against the run-up players, against smaller names, so to speak? Did any of this affect you, or
Uh,
the England?
I mean, no, I get a little bit more passionate if there's a World Cup going on. Like I'll humor watching matches a little
But your
bit more.
friends must be cricket crazy, like when
on,
you're with your group.
exactly, they are, and I get very bored on cricket on match days.
You need to
I
share
try
the
to avoid.
bubble. Imagine if you got a job, great money, so you had to do it, and you're like a statistician or whatever.
Yeah,
Nishal
well,
gets you a job. I would love to see you trapped with only cricket-loving people for 4 months.
man,
Wow.
I've actually. So my brother and my dad are huge cricket buffs. Like my brother, though, he's like you, Cyrus. He knows dates. He knows like everything
You
on
say it
history and
like
all
it's a
properly. He
bad
knows.
thing.
Okay. No, yeah, exactly.
Shameful guy
so
wasted his
they
life
take.
knowing Hanif
So
Mohammed
yeah,
statistics. Huh. Yeah.
loser. Yeah. So if they go, so we've gone for like actual matches at Wankhede and at DY Patil both, and I'm always just like, yeah, okay, take a match chal raha hai. My brother's like all
Kabhi tak hai,
excited.
kabhi tak
It's very weird.
hai.
Yeah.
Is this the last
So
over?
I feel
Only
that.
you and the batsman ask the same question. Umpire,
Yeah.
is this the last
Yeah.
over?
Yeah. This is the last one. Yes, exactly.
Pulia. Chalo, let's take
Exactly.
some.
All right.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Board Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
Cool. This one comes from Girish Patil. He says, after recent not so subtle comments about Shastri and Kohli by Ashwin, do you think Kohli would retire early and fuck off out of frustration?
There's no, Nishad, I'm asking a question which is awkward for you to answer because you're now slightly from the admin side also, because you're almost involved in everything. Is it going to affect Kohli? Because the power of Kohli seems to have been cut by Ganguly. There seems to definitely be some disparity there. And there seems to definitely, when Ravi was there, the old selectors were there, Virat was the god. Okay, it looks like they're trying to make sure he's not the god anymore. Is that? I think that's fair to say. Yes or no?
I'm not really sure because you've got it made logically. I mean, as it was said that you could have only one white ball captain. Now, Test cricket, I see him continuing, and that's what it may be the case. But what I'm really concerned about at the moment is his own batting form, because he's just getting out against the run of play. But I expect him to really really score big and have that resurrection of sorts.
It's still only 12 tests. It's not the longest run. The Michael Clark's
Yeah,
gone through it. Viv
not
Richards
a
has gone through it.
long run.
Sachin has gone through it to some extent.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we should not overdo it. But I hear what you're saying. When you're attacking Pujara and you're attacking Rahane, you're also looking at the statistics over the same period of time almost. Because you're saying 1.5 years, but with this pandemic going on, you played much better. Just look at the innings, the amount of innings played. That's the important figure. And they're almost close to each other. So, yeah.
But what works for Kohli is the fact that he also plays white ball cricket and has done decently well there. Hasn't got the 100, but his average is quite good. So that too
But the
works.
50 overs, how much have we played?
Yeah,
After
we've not played a
2019,
lot.
how many games have we played? Then he takes rest also there.
Those 3 ODIs against Australia and then 3 against England. So
That's
not
it.
many. But then,
Yeah.
so I think that also
So-
works a little bit in Virat's favor.
But you think he'll turn it around? Because if he doesn't, then that becomes 15 tests. If he doesn't get, say, a big innings, not even 100, I'm saying if he gets an important 84, that's good enough. Ultimately how the state of the match, how the innings places in the state of the series. So but he's too good a player. I can't. It's too early for him to be. He's only 34, 33, 34.
I don't think, what I mean. Everyone said this about Sachin when he was
Yeah.
34, and
Yeah.
in 2007,
And he's still
India
playing.
lost the World Cup. And you see the resurrection. I think, this T20 World Cup exit, maybe whatever has happened on the outside, who knows, it could possibly inspire Virat to, have that resurrection in a way that he pushes himself the way Tendulkar did and score all those runs in those last few years.
Sorry, being in South Africa, a little away from the Indian media, somewhat. If we can just shut his, laptop and phone a little bit here and there, it may help him. Because there's just too much controversy, and now this whole Ganguly baiting thing that's going on. I mean, no one's going to let that go. And Rohit Sharma questions asked of him point blank every day. Every day he has to answer the question. Oh, there's nothing wrong between me and Rohit. I have no problem. I will play. I'll never let down the country. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. I mean, it's unnecessary. Sorry, let's take in some more. I talk too much. Nishad should be
Sure.
answering.
Next one comes in from Rake. He says, what would be the next big progress that cricket would make? T20 seems to get all the experiments. Do you think we will ever have 11 bowlers from one team bowling to 11 batsmen, then the other way?
Yeah, look, I would have 10 years back, Nishad, 15 years back. Sorry, I'll just say this much and I'll let you answer it properly. I would have said don't talk rubbish, because we were still, up to your generation, raised as classical test match lovers. But right now, I've seen the T10 and I'll be honest with you, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the T20. I enjoy all forms. I can't say I don't. You just, there's a contest, there's a bat and a ball, you enjoy it. Now I will let you give a wise answer. Go ahead.
True. T10 is the way forward, I would say. I know I'm a purist. I love my test cricket, but T10 will take cricket to the Olympics. And that is the vision. I was fortunate. I was invited to watch T10 cricket in the UAE after the World Cup.
I watched the whole thing.
You watched it, right? The T10.
Yeah, almost every game. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
and-
timing just suited me.
And you know what? Everyone there, whoever's working on the event, they do believe it could take cricket to the Olympics. And yes, I think that will really, truly, possibly globalize the game.
I've got a terrible thing to say. Markasam, can I say it? Oh my God. Can you believe that 30 years from now, there'll be people who think of T20 lovers as specialists, purists, classic, orthodox, boring people. T20. Because now there's like a 2-over cricket game, or I don't know. What do you think? Bro. Wow.
5 overs?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
We can't laugh about this anymore. Look at the way it's evolved the last 10 to 15 years. It's ridiculous. Ask Silvery, he can't keep up with the game anymore. Just when he's interested and learning a little bit about Chetan Chauhan and Gavaskar
Yeah.
Open,
They change the
they've gone
rules.
somewhere else. Change
Yeah.
the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it sounds
not-
funny and flippant, but it may. What do you say? Is it possible that comedy imitates art in a sense, and then cricket becomes that?
It's funny because when in 2007, when the T20 World Cup was announced, 2006-7, and initially the BCCI and a few other boards, they were not very keen to participate, especially the Asian ones. And one of our board officials at the time had said that, why 20 overs? Why not 10? Why not 5? And then
Sarcastically.
later, sarcastically, and then there was a compromise worked out.
Name the name. Is he a Padma Shri? He should be.
but you know what, and then there was a compromise that happened behind the scenes where ICC got BCCI to agree to participate, and the rest is history. As we know, in 2007 India won.
Would
that.
this be because without India you cannot run this game? Is it possible? I don't want to brag, but is it possible, Nishad?
Possible?
Oh.
Because
Don't be stereotyping in racist words and using all this on the podcast. Silvery, take another question.
Next one comes in from, another Rake question. He says, what do you think is the possibility of Pant ever opening? left-hand opener, opens up middle order spot.
Maybe on Indian
One
wickets.
day cricket.
Yeah, maybe on Indian wickets, we have a special squad and reasons for the wicket deteriorating. You want him up front, and then have other batsmen come later. Maybe I can't. I still believe it's a specialist position, and they get exposed like Nishad. So please listen to this podcast from the beginning if you're a cricket lover. Explains the importance of openers. You don't think it nowadays. Everybody says it's interchangeable T20 cricket. You bat where you have to, depending on the team. But when you go to England and you go to Australia as a foreign country, you have to bring two openers who can really stare them down. Right now, the Ashes is going on, and we can see the difference between India and England, as he quite rightly mentioned. KL and Rohit rising to the occasion, and now we're probably going to have 5 or 6 openers by the end of the Ashes from England's side, and that includes players who have never opened, from what I'm hearing in podcasts.
Yeah, and I think Pant as an opener in ODIs could be a good idea because he did it for the erstwhile Delhi Daredevils, which is now Delhi Capitals, and he did quite a decent job of it. So I would say just the way Australia handled Adam Gilchrist and him opening in ODIs.
But you've got Rohit Sharma, you've got KL Rahul. I mean, you've got to look at it from a fact of the matter is where you're batting everyone anyway. You can't. How does Pant get into the opening position? 1, 2, and 3 in white ball cricket. For me, Kohli, KL, and Rohit have to come in. I can't see anybody else coming in.
It's an idea. Maybe after the 2023 World Cup, maybe later when you've got a change, or maybe some of these guys decide to call it time. Possibly, it's an idea. It's an idea worth considering.
Okay, so then Rake will listen to what you have to say. Stay in touch with that BCCI selector who made fun of T20, became T10. Now T10 is becoming T5, and they call him up. He's sweating buckets. He's like, come on, take 1, 2 more. Whoa, 7.
Sure.
Hurry up.
Next one comes in from Harvesh Kasad. He says, "Hello all."
Harvesh Pa, you met him, you spoke to him, you held his hand, you went for a walk in the pale moonlight, and this is the respect.
Harvesh Kasad has said, "Hello all. If you had to rate India's top 5 test victories ever, which are the ones you will rate in those top 5?
But we have to, I mean, there were not too many in the old days, but 71, you can't just let go of that. That's damn tough for me. I would say 71 West Indies, very important. England, which followed 71 Wadika's twin tours. So you got victories there. I have to put them in. The Lakshman Test match, and he's still going to be the Lakshman Test match. Harbhajan took all those wickets, and Rahul Dravid 180. It's the Lakshman Test match. I mean, it's just incredible. That's 3. I want to put the 1986-20 Chetan Sharma series. At least the one that clinches the series for us. If I had to take one of the 2.
Was that the same series where you were called Bombay at Lords?
Yes. But can you believe it? I got to watch with India on top in England, and in the decade before, the decade after, barring 71, and then all the way into the early 2000s, there was nothing else. They hammered us every time otherwise. So, I had a session. I watched Vengsakar and Maninder. Vengsakar getting 100, and I was Maninder. Worried that Maninder will get out. He was number 11. And my memory of that is fantastic. But the fact of the matter is, again, you didn't expect India to win like the World Cup in '83. So I will put it there. Then the Gabba has to come in. So I'll have to keep the England, because I felt this England tour where we've done really well. I felt our talent is better than theirs. And I honestly felt, if you're, without being racist, and not racist is the right word. What is the word, yaar? When you favor your own partisan, you're being really stupidly jingoistic and partisan. I felt on paper we're beating this team. I really felt that. And we discussed that. And we said, we are. Look at they have 1 batsman. We had 6. We had 6 batsmen. With Jadeja also, as a player, as an all-rounder, as a better batsman and 5 or 6 in any of theirs. Okay, sorry.
True.
So Harvespa, those are the 5 I've got. But Nishad, you agreed with me, or you want to change any?
71, the 71 victories. Then you've got the Lakshman victory has to be there.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to go for Perth 2008 as well.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to go for Perth 2008.
Because they had all that emotion and all that happened just before that. So, okay, I forgot about that one. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
So let's make it 6.
Gabba. Yeah, and Gabba 2021.
Gabba was too much. But if I have to pick one, and Ajit Wadekar, as much as I love you, I will pick Lakshman's Test match in 2000. I just cannot believe that. I cannot believe at the end of the day they're still batting. It was like, that was India. That's the Indianness about us. It's like we just outdo you. A little bit of attrition, lots of great stroke play, but at the end of the day they just stood their ground. Fabulous. I mean, Silvery was born that year. What a beautiful year it was. Yes, Silvery.
Silvery's just zoned out. I think.
No, he's dead. He's finished.
I want to hear Silvery's answer for this. I don't know.
These are better questions.
No. For top 5 test moments.
5 test moments. Victories. Yeah.
The 5 test matches that happened, they were pretty good. The
Yeah,
last
that's
5 test matches. Yeah. Just count those backwards and you'll know. Okay.
okay. Let's take one last one. I have to find
Sure, sure.
Mahakali
This
Caves
last one.
tomorrow and shoot something so that my kids have food on the table.
Sure, sure. This one comes in from Tanmay. He says, "What, according to you, is this year's best sport moment? Was it India's series
Sport
win
moment.
in India's series
No,
win
the
in
gold
Australia,
medal.
or
The
any
gold medal.
Olympic moment, or
Gold medal.
Verstappen winning F1 championship on the last lap of the season?"
Yeah, that's funny. I like that as well because Lewis Hamilton is like tends to look unbeatable again. I'm going with Neeraj Chopra. Are we schoolboys at heart, Nishad? That a gold medal in the Olympics so rare. This is the second time for us. It just did you just feel superb? What match is that?
Oh, you know what? I think that is the number one moment. Neeraj Chopra winning the gold, and it's just when the second throw and the way it went, and you just look. I mean, it's not just about winning the gold medal, but he looked way above the rest on the day. He was the best on the day, and it was phenomenal. And yeah, today, interestingly, I was at that IISM, the Sports Management Institute, and they've got nice murals around, or art designs of various sports people. There's a new wall there with all the medalists from 2020 Olympics from India, and the Neeraj Chopra's artwork is first, and they got him to come there and sign it.
Wow.
And just looking at it, I mean, I've never met the guy, but just looking at it, I had goosebumps. It was because
Yeah.
what it means. And for me, what really, really made it even more special is that Neeraj Chopra tells Jeev Milkha Singh that this one's for your dad. Was someone who wanted it more than anyone, the gold medal in athletics for
I
India, and he couldn't live to see the day.
I was so upset, in fact, when apparently when he couldn't find it, his javelin, and asked some lady, "Have you seen my javelin?" And she filed a police case. And I thought that was like so unnecessary. Silvery, I'm just keeping you in the game, bro. I'm just feeling you're left
Yeah.
out.
Thanks.
Interest in Neeraj Chopra,
Uh,
who won a gold
yeah.
medal in
Hey,
Test
man.
cricket, in white
Yeah.
ball cricket. The only time you wake up is if Rohit Sharma is fighting with Virat Kohli. Then a little bit of
Yeah.
interest is there. I don't know. I'm sad.
Correct.
You're
Correct. Correct.
breaking my heart.
Okay.
Nisha,
What do you think are the odds that Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma get into a fight this coming year?
they never will. They never
Never
will.
will.
Never.
Okay. I'm
It's all.
I'm
It's all.
betting.
It's
I'm
possible
hoping
that
for
they're
that.
not the greatest of friends. It's possible their spouses don't get along, but they'll never get into a fight. This is just ridiculous. I mean, we've discussed this. In IVM, there are
Yeah.
people who don't like each other. Where I work, different places, there are people who don't really like each other. And what's the big deal? They shouldn't like each other. Would you like everyone to like each other? What are we? How sugary sweet you want the world to be? I'm saying just don't bomb people. That's all. I've got very low expectations. Don't kill anybody, but please hate. Without hate, what do we have? We have nothing. We'll be like flowers. You want to be a flower? You have to be more than oh, by the way, Andy Flower is a Lucknow coach, now that you mentioned it. So
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't mind being a flower. Yeah.
we missed one sporting moment quickly.
Yeah.
That wrestler who murdered someone. That was also a good sporting
And you
moment.
know your
Allegedly,
facts.
allegedly. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Allegedly.
allegedly still
Bro,
not.
bro, he's not murdered anyone with his own hand. Not really in that sense. But he was there in the brawl.
Yeah.
He was pointing
Yeah.
fingers. And by the way, it's all on CCTV footage as well as 2 phone cameras. So Nishad is alleged, but he is in jail and there's visual evidence. So I don't want to be the lawyer who has to defend them.
The court has to still pronounce its judgment, but yeah, that was a disappointment. Yeah,
I hate to use
can't.
this word, but it's criminal. A talented
Yeah,
guy,
Uh,
2-time medalist. I mean, he
and
changed the face of
iconic,
wrestling. Iconic, absolutely. And
absolutely iconic.
why did he need all this shit? That's why when you become my standard, Nishad, and you're like a world champion, you have to understand the responsibility you have to the people of the world, and you have to behave yourself. I don't dig my nose in public anymore. I used to do it. I've stopped.
Look at that comment though. You've
Royston
got to
Yeah,
see
Dasa
that.
said,
yeah.
"England losing after singing it's coming home for a
Well, they
month."
didn't make the ad. They didn't make the ad. We made the ad. So we made them like that. We just
Uh,
bully everyone in cricket, off the field and on the field. I'm sorry about that. The world has changed. Nishad, sorry. Wonderful talking to you. Have a
Oh,
very Merry
absolutely.
Christmas and a Happy New Year. Quick prediction as we
Same
pull
to
out here.
you.
Thank you. Prediction well, it was Johannesburg. It is now Centurion. India.
Only Centurion or the whole series?
We'll take Centurion first because that's what's 2 days
Okay,
away.
Centurion. I expect a draw because it's going to rain. The
Ah,
forecast is
correct.
really bad. Yeah,
Right. So that's like practice match. So then we save that one. Then we should take them down. Huh?
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Get your eye in with this one.
Yeah, you get a little batting done, between 30, 40 overs
Yeah.
in each inning, something like that. Silvery, your prediction?
Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli will fight.
Who'll
Rohit
win?
Sharma is not even on tour.
Oh shit, he
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
even know
No
that.
idea.
Oh,
I don't even know
God.
that.
Oh man. I mean, no, bro, let's do one thing. Let's get a Bharatanatyam expert next time, and you and I will ask
Yeah.
questions on a field we have no idea about. Okay, it'll be
My,
great
my,
fun.
my, my sister-in-law is a classically trained Bharatanatyam dancer.
Let's get her for the cricket show.
Interesting. Yeah, fantastic. Let's make it happen.
Okay, bye guys. See
Thank
ya.
you.
Bye bye.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.
Are you looking for finance products and services that can enhance your personal finance experience? Are you looking for a space to talk about your financial product or service? And are you looking for a crisp talk show where the conversation is all about money? Well, your search ends here. Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta and I'm host of the Paisa Vaisa podcast, and I invite you for the conversation about your personal finance on each Monday on the IVM Podcast app or the website or on any podcast streaming platforms. See you folks.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy? If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.